Hello everyone, my name is Lawrence Monzon, but you can go ahead and call me Law,
And I'm Eric Perota,
and we're the co-creators of Universe 108.
and all of its subsequent spin-offs.
Okay, so what we're here today to talk about is basically where Universe 108 originated from. It all started off as, a project that I was working on ever since I was in junior high. But obviously every project has its embarrassing starts that, it may not be up to everybody's expectations and stuff, and we do want to improve upon it much more in the future.
We all gotta start somewhere in the end, honestly. Everybody has that one project that they're all really ashamed of. That never should surface. So, yeah.
But otherwise, Universe 108 back then wasn't called Universe 108. It was just, this random fan fiction that came to mind back then where, I'd have crossovers from, cartoons all over, the world and stuff. And they just happened to help my very own self-insert, Larry, with his, character development. Yeah.
The funny part was it wasn't even Larry in the beginning, it was Tyson.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, it just evolved into something a little better and stuff. It eventually went on to become something called Heroes of Lumina, which starred, two of my characters, Larry and Sarah, as the main characters. I still did not like that story because, You're in for equality? Okay, but otherwise, in the writing sense, it did not make sense to me at the time and stuff. It was something that I was just writing to help, kind of, I don't know, process life, I guess?
More a matter of just kind of putting whatever you had in your imagination out there on paper. Having that there.
Let's just say that the concept was there, but it was not executed properly. That's why many of its elements have gone on to exist in present-day Universe 108, which arrives at our next chapter. Universe 108 was established when we were both junior students at our high school.
Yeah, officially. Yeah.
And what you see now, it did not start off so strong, considering my writing was still in improvement stage. In fact, I was a pretty
everybody was still developing. I mean, it's high school. You
Yeah.
know, how much free time are you going to actually have to put together your writing skills? Even though English class is supposed to be for that, but I'm serious. Flavel didn't teach me shit.
It's the first cuss word in the video, but next.
Oh,
Okay.
was it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's actually pretty good.
Okay.
3 minutes in. Nice.
But otherwise, so Universe 108, how it started in junior high, it was something that I was still polishing up, because not only was I moving on from an old chapter in my life and stuff, I was moving on to the new chapter where I was learning to accept myself for who I was. You see, back then we did not have Onion around and stuff.
There was no mascot character.
Mhm.
For him, it was straight copyright.
Yeah, so thankfully I was able to move on from that after sophomore year, and sophomore year took a lot of movies that I don't like talking about and stuff, which you can look at in the old channel that I'm shamelessly advertising.
Which we will get to at the end.
Mhm.
Jesus.
Eric saving me from a bullet right there.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so obviously every story has its rough starts, but Universe 108 had started polishing up to be something, something life-changing. When we had entered senior year, that was when I started asking Eric if did you want to talk about Universe 108 a little more? Just help him find out more about it.
Yeah, just for me to actually kind of be in the loop of this whole process that he had going on. Because it's after I found out that he had it since, middle school, right?
Yeah.
Even, okay. I thought it was before that. Yeah, ever since he developed the whole basis of this story in middle school, I was just at first I was okay, he's doing his own thing. That whole thing about this movie sucks was one of my reactions to this movie in sophomore year. So I'm not too proud of it, but we still managed to stay friends enough for me to be okay, you know what, tell me more about this type of thing. And it was It was a hell of a ride after he showed me the first base script that he had for 108, which was which was good for high school. For high school, it was good for what it was. It was just some issues here and there with it, but honestly, like it was better than nothing, you know.
Mm. Like it was the first attempt at writing something that was trying to like make character development and have relationships that make sense. But of course, I was still working on it.
Maybe not that last part. Maybe not the whole relationships that make sense.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kiara, but you're a hoe.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Any male breathes in that story. Sarah's just like, love you.
Okay. But anyways, so Universe 108, while it was something that we started working together on in senior year, that was the point where, obviously, like, I had left to go on my own, adventure out in the army. And that resulted in me being away from... That resulted in me being away from home, and I did not get the chance to even work on anything at all. But if anything, it gave me inspiration for a lot of the characters that probably wouldn't have existed or have developed to the extent where they are now.
Yeah, honestly, it takes an experience like that for that type of thing to happen, honestly.
I have, many friends in the army that know about Universe 108 now, especially one of them who has even gone out of their way to lend their hand in acting.
Well, less of a hand, more of a voice, if you really want to be technical about it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I sounded like such a dick.
But, anyways, when I came back from army training, my first instinct was, okay, let's get back to work.
Scrap this shit. Second curse word.
Yeah.
Scrap anything and everything you had in the beginning and start over.
Mm-hmm. Knowing of the journey that I went on throughout 20 weeks plus, I think, basically, I used my stories that I was able to form along the way and implement them into Universe 108, starting with a movie called A Letter to a Friend. A Friend. Yes, not to be confused with the upcoming movie A Letter to My Friends, but
which is a very hard reboot. For no reason, but yeah.
So, onto what I was saying, though, A Letter to a Friend was basically a story between, it was supposed to be the story between Larry and his friends, mainly just one person that, was able to get him through the struggles in his life and stuff. Upon entering through training and being thrusted into, this adventure that he never expected and stuff. Basically, he needed someone to lean on whenever, he was going through his own emotional breakdowns. In my own experiences and stuff, that's why I have learned, the best kind of stories touch reality. And, if it weren't for reality, we wouldn't have, a lot of, famous stories out there, out on, I don't know, Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon, even though their management sucks ass.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm like, fuck, I thought you were gonna look at, actual literature. Some of the stuff that was influenced by, real life events.
Mm-hmm.
Or just some things that have hit artists in some way. But no, let's fucking talk about... Let's just talk about Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon. They are fucking gold mines for any of this stuff. What, I'm up to 4 now? Yeah, hey.
At least that was one of them. Yeah. So, but, anyways, Universe 108 A Letter to a Friend was going to be my first experience with, writing, a legitimate friendship together. Although it wasn't perfect, it was something that, it was the best executed idea for its time and stuff. It's only been
It's been a year.
It's been a year since its release, and I've already learned a lot.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a year.
Just the clarinets in the background, but okay. Okay.
Keep going. Holy shit.
But
5.
So, anyways, in regards to A Letter to a Friend, when I first started working on it, that was when I had sent a message out to, a good friend of mine that, basically, how it all started was that, when I got back from army training, I had called up a friend of mine asking, hey, do you want to hang out? And then what was it? He had told me, "Oh, I'm just working out with a couple buds and stuff." So I went out to my old high school, and little did I know that two of my old friends that I had initially worked on 108 with were there. Well, the other one I did not really work on 108 with him all that much, but what was it?
That was me.
Okay, so
at least
this guy right here and stuff. Basically, he was one of the people that I told, like in senior year, "Hey, what was it? I hope I could keep working on this and stuff." But I never really got the chance to tell him, like, "Hey, what was it? I don't know what's gonna happen even after my, army journey and stuff." Because, like, when I left for my army training and stuff, even, like, you didn't know it was gonna happen to 108, right?
No, honestly, I thought that was it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was just shelved after that.
Yeah.
To be honest.
But the thing about having a childhood idea like that, as cliche as it sounds, you kind of just hold on to it.
Yeah.
Everybody has something that they hold on to from the past and stuff, for better or for worse.
All right. Well, for me personally, before we continue on anything, I can give you guys a little bit of background on me, because as of all the movies that we have so far, Letter to a Friend, A Gift from Home, and for the both of you, as of right now, the actual movies that are posted and will eventually be moved here, we'll get more into that later. At that time, I actually wasn't a co-creator. I was only a voice actor at that time. I actually voice acted as the main antagonist for A Letter to a Friend, which is really funny considering the circumstances. How you and I are actually working together on this, so, yeah, like I was saying, with my background, it's the fact that it's like, I personally was never a creative type myself. I wrote stories here and there. I did this and did that. And, like I said, everybody has that one story that nobody wants to talk about. Everybody wants to keep buried. Like, I got too many graves out there. Like, I'm that guy. But, one of the things that I did was in middle school, I was a theater student both those years. So it's like I got a little bit of what anybody in our friend group would consider their acting chops right out of the way. So I think off the bat, when it came to voice acting, I was one of the better ones out there, just because I had some of that teaching already instilled in me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said before, the first bit of exposure that I actually had to any of his work, I wasn't crazy about it. And that was just due to the fact that a lot of... I know that it came off as me being really shallow and kind of a dick, but it's like, it was hard for me to follow just because it was just visuals. And at that time, it's like, when you're a kid, it's like, you don't fucking understand things. Six. Doing my best to limit it.
Okay.
Try not to hit 10 at least. If
Okay.
I hit 10, then I don't know, I owe you a soda. Figure it out. Anyways, see, I told you it was going to be a dialogue between us on top of that. But yeah, so a lot of he was the first person that I ever had any kind of exposure to in regards to anything that was near the field of animation or animatics like that. Because when you go on channels like YouTube nowadays, you see a lot of that stuff up there. You see a lot of stuff that varies from storyboard, like he and I are doing for 108. Primarily him, because he's the artist. I'm just here. I write, and you see it spanning from that stuff to actual animations full blown. Whether it's good or bad, it's up there. It's out there. But on my own personal level, it's like I've known artists. I've known different people who have drawn and written and done all this other stuff, but he was the first person that I came across that was not only capable of drawing, capable of writing, but also willing to put himself out there, regardless of whatever the quality may be. That's not to say that your quality was bad. It's just like you look at stuff like the Pius movies to now. Also, quick thing, don't ask what the Pius movies are. Don't ask. I'm not a part of that. That's all him. But you look at his old stuff, like the really ancient stuff, and you look at some of the stuff that we're working on now. It's like it's a big jump. Not only in regards to its quality, but you see how far he's actually come as a person, which is good. That's great. And that's all without my influence, because out of the two of us, I'm the bad egg. I'm the bad influence. we talked back and forth a bit for 108. I would ask questions here and there. I'd actually ask him to do an original character for me in 108, the guy who ends up being the antagonist and one of the main characters in 108 as we go on. Yeah, that guy. G'day. So I initially asked him to put him in as one of the 108 stars, and as soon as I saw him, I'm like, okay, if you ever need voice acting, I'm the guy to do it. You know, I'm the only one who can get, you know, any kind of sass and sarcasm out of that guy. Because he's me, basically. But yeah, like, throughout the remainder of of our junior year and our senior year, we talked back and forth for a little while. Then it eventually came about that he was going into the Army, whereas I was going to continue on, go on to college. And for a little while, there was that lack of communication. You know, like you and I were friends, but we weren't like super close. You know, like we knew each other, we had the same classes, we talked whenever we were around, but we're not as tight as we are now. And basically for me, it was a lot of juggling stuff that I had to deal with during that time. Knowing that he was going through his own experience, I had my own share of them. A lot more of them actually bad than good, to be completely honest. So it was just me like juggling a job, you know, a lot of really, really, really negative stuff that was going on in my life, and that's an understatement, trust me. As well as family life, social life, whatever the hell's left of that. All that stuff together. So I was just kind of dealing with that. And it was an especially rough patch at one point in my life, to the point where it was like, I was done. You know, I was willing to like off myself. It was hard. It was rough. But around that same time, that's when a certain fucker, Seven, decided to come back from the Army and reach out to a buddy of ours while we were working out. And once he came back and I found out that he was going to be going to the college that was, you know, the same general area as mine, and I found out that our schedules were fairly flexible, we started hanging out a lot more. Obviously, we ended up chilling. And then eventually, when he brought up the idea of voice acting, finally, for A Letter to a Friend, I was just like, okay, I'm on board. I want it on top of this. Because considering the fact that I was in such a rough place, it's like one of the main things that I learned through my many experiences of being in a rough place is just surround yourself with people that care about you. Surround yourself with people that you know are going to be there to help build you up. So by doing that, I decided, okay, some of the best times that I've had in my life was when I was a part of something that's bigger than me, something that's going to be great. That's when I decided, okay, I'm going to take you up on this whole thing. I was supposed to voice act for you back in high school, but I never had the flexibility to do it, so I'm like, okay, let's do this. We ended up doing that. We ended up pushing out A Letter to a Friend in January? No.
Yeah, it was January.
Was it January?
Started working on it in November.
Yeah.
And then released it in January.
We released it in January. So we put that out there and just immediately, like, looking back on it now in comparison to the movies that we have,
yeah.
and some of the movies that are going to come, it's like this one aged, and it aged really fast and really roughly.
It's really only because, like, writing was at the peak of getting polished, but it just wasn't there yet.
Yeah,
and not
exactly.
just that, but like a new drawing tablet pretty much like cleaned everything, got a facelift from that point on.
Yeah, it's just like you look at some of the stuff on Pius where you had to use like a mouse to draw. Everybody starts somewhere, damn it. That is the key to this. Everyone starts somewhere. Exactly. Anyways, so after we ended up putting out the movie, I was just like, okay, I want more. I want to be a part of this. Because it's just, like I said, it was, 108 became like a coping mechanism for me. In a sense, as I told him, and I've managed to break him by telling him this when he found out, was 108 basically saved my life. Amongst other things that came about and occupied my mind to the point where it's like, it isn't worth it. You know, there's so much potential in this life. It's just a matter of looking for the opportunities. And this was definitely, like, I wasn't going to look a horse get to the mouth or whatever the hell that saying is. I wasn't going to look at it at face value. I was going to be like, okay, if I'm going for it, I'm going all in. So after voice acting for him for that first movie, I decided, hey, I'm going to get more involved with all these movies. You know, and at this point, I was still just a voice actor. I was just somebody who was very interested. I was intrigued by the lore and everything that he had put out. So, going through the process of him actually storyboarding through, like, for the Both of You and A Gift from Home, being around when he was doing all this, making sure to support his ass, 8, whenever he would just complain and be so done with doing all of this.
Especially for the Both of You.
Yeah, exactly. And For the Both of You is the best movie that we have out right now. So that says a lot. I'm telling you, Sincerely Yours better be this good. If you're going to complain as much as you do with all these movies, it better be that good. By being there and by being, you know, basically a secondary biggest fan to him being his own biggest fan to this work, we've managed to make, you know, 108 in just the universe that we've created so far. Pun. That's terrible, though. We managed to put all of this together, and we managed to make it work and make it a lot better than, you know, hell, I think you and I ever thought it could be. This is all before I was a co-creator, which gets me on to my next point. Just because he and I were, we're basically the super team and all that stuff, doesn't mean that we didn't have our rough patches. And I think amongst all the rough patches, there was one in particular that was like gonna make or break not only the partnership that we developed as a voice actor and creator, but as a friendship for a while. And it had to do with this incident in regards to me sharing my own stories. Me putting myself out there for the very first time in a long time about a story that I've held on to from high school. And its continuation on into the, my first year of college. So spanning from 2013 up until about, 2018? Yeah, so about 5 years altogether. It was initially a story that I had developed with my ex-girlfriend. So you can already tell this is going to be a happy story, right? Concerning the fact that she and I had gone through so much development with all of our characters and doing all this, basically taking them from these one-dimensional, like, horrible archetypes into people that are molded, people that are real, that have gone through such serious and drastic but amazing changes. You know, you would only hope that at the end of their story it would be a happy ending, but, you know, lo and behold, she and I broke up, things got extremely ugly. And any and all chances of that ending being a reality was taken away from me. And for the longest time, I couldn't handle it. It was such a rough thing for me because we were so close. We were right at the end, and everything was in sight. Everything was in our hands. Now just imagine that being torn away and locked away somewhere where you're never going to get it back. So after being a part of his stories for the months that I had been, I was like, okay, I'm actually really confident in this stuff now. Maybe I can give these characters the ending that they need. You know, which was, don't get me wrong, like the ending that I came to was very drastic. It was still really, yeah, for lack of a better word, it was a really fucking dark ending, 9. But it was realistic in the sense that it was basically that older version of myself kind of leaving, dying out, and then this newer version of me coming about through whatever was left of it. You know, it was this basic symbolism of my journey, you know, mentally and emotionally. And I initially pitched the idea to him. I talked about it. I made all this information. I made a PowerPoint and all this stuff. And yeah, let's just say it didn't go all that well. What was it exactly? It was that you said that... Was it that you didn't like it, or was that...
It was more so that
like,
it was...
I can't remember, that's why.
Like, it was more so that it was based off of something that I felt as if, like, it was gonna bring back an old demon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Try to make a metaphor and try not to butcher it, but... Let's say you have something that's like your favorite, I don't know, your favorite bike or something.
Okay.
You loved it to death, right? And stuff. It's basically something that you spent the years with. But even you know yourself that it had wear and tear along the way. And let's say, like, fast forward and stuff. Like, oh, I don't have, like, any, like, new bike to ride on and stuff. But my old bike is still here.
Mm-hmm.
but it's still complete garbage and stuff. And like, oh, knowing that if I go on this, despite it being like my favorite bike and stuff, I could potentially hurt myself in the long run. It was that whole idea of going back to something that, like, saying, I myself, I can't really say it. I can't speak for what happened on Eric's end, but at the same time, I can't help but feel that, what was it? There are some cautionaries that I wanted to, like, take before we, enter something like that.
It was just a matter of, like, basically all it was wow, if you really want to break it down to the basis, it was a really bad case of miscommunication. Because I saw it, the way that I saw it was, I thought he was just attacking the ideas that I had. Considering the fact that I did so much for him, I thought he was just going out of his way to tear me down. And I'm like, why? What the hell? Like, I did all this stuff for you. Can't you just be a little bit supportive? So for a little while, it was tense. Keep in mind, like, this whole miscommunication thing was pretty rough. It went on for a couple days until we met in person and all this and that. And even though we kind of talked it out, we talked out our differences and all that stuff, I was still pretty angry about it. I had yet to forgive him, which I did, a couple months later, down the line. But at that time, and as of still today, like, I decided against actually writing that story. I'm not 100% for it. It doesn't have to do with you anymore. It's just more of a sense that it's like, personally, I don't think I'm really all that emotionally prepared to, like, write that ending out, because it's dark. It's dark. But it's something that I feel I need to do at some point. But with that in mind, considering at the time that I was angry, but I also didn't have an outlet anymore, I decided to do my own thing. That was 108 related, which was this basis idea of what if the character that I voiced, Kire, was in charge of a different team. As you're going to see in Sincerely Yours, I am in charge of a set of people that include his old battle buddy and my now girlfriend, right? And basically that whole story was supposed to be...
that whole, like, plain sight too.
Nah, no, exactly. I'm like, and that whole story was supposed to be basically more of like, it was almost like a fan fiction in a sense, but it was just something that was going to be an outlet for me just so I can deal with any emotional bullshit that I have. Oh, 11. Damn it! Alright, I need a drink. But it was just supposed to be a means of me venting, right? And it's just like, I had this, I was going over it's so funny because the way that I thought about it was like, I'm at my job, I'm pushing carts, and I'm like, okay, how's this gonna work? How's that gonna work? I'm working everything out of my head. And then eventually I'm like, begrudgingly, and I don't know why I thought of it, but I'm just like, I'm gonna pitch this idea to Lawrence. Just so he knows that, like, I'm fucking mad at you. 12. I'm probably gonna stop keeping count now. Then I'm mad at you, but I am going to use this as my means of dealing with it. And I'll get back to you when I'm not mad at you. So I pitched him the idea. I talked about how my character would be in charge of what is now known as the Rejects, which is just all these characters that were supplementary characters in the other stories. So Alert Friend was Baron, for the both of you was Celia, and then in A Gift From Home, it's clad in technically spring because the spring comes out at the end. I pitched this whole idea of them going out on adventures and doing all this stuff, right? Whilst the rest of the teams of like Larry and everybody else was doing their own thing. And he's just like, you know what? That's a pretty good idea. Why don't we make this a natural canon thing? Why don't we actually make a series out of it? I'm like, fuck it. Okay, let's do this. And I went from being a voice actor to a very pissed off friend to a co-creator within a couple of months. By accident, which is great. Because you're always gonna look back on it like, okay, hey, how did you end up partnering up with that guy? Oh, I pissed him off because he misunderstood my fear for his health. So thus the Reject series was born. one of several other series that we actually have on the in the works right now.
A lot of life is just poured into it and stuff. Like, the dynamic between Larry and Kitty is just about as argumentative as ours and stuff. Like, we've been through a lot and stuff.
We fought over some bullshit.
This is a friend of mine that started off, literally. This is
just say me.
This is a friend of mine that basically started off as like a small time pal of mine in I used to annoy the hell out of him in our RPC. Because he sat between me and another dude. But otherwise, I never knew that I'd eventually go from such a small time pal to someone I value as a literal brother is that I wish was my blood. But
you're getting a little too emotional. I'm lightening the mood.
Okay.
I'm lightening the mood. Ka-chow.
But otherwise, I have poured my thanks over and over again. But I'm absolutely glad that I have Eric working alongside me as a co-creator of Universe 108 and
any and all of our subsequent spin-offs and other projects. I'm keeping this vague on purpose. Wait until May. You'll understand. Seriously. With that all in mind and all of that being said, you're probably wondering why the hell we've kind of kept your attention for all this time.
Yep.
Well, on top of the fact that we're telling you our fucking deepest, darkest fucking backstory secret bullshit.
Character development.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Here's the real reason why we have this video, which is it's incredibly long. I thought this video was only going to be 10 minutes.
Yeah, and it's going to take a hell of a lot of editing for me to do. So
yeah, this part's not going to be
it.
Yeah. Keep that as an outtake, by the way. Anyway, so main reason why we have this video up here now, as long as it may be, is Lawrence and I have been working together for about a year altogether. As a voice actor, it's been a year. As a co-creator, maybe a couple months? Regardless, we've known each other for a long while, and we've worked together on this for a while. Here's the thing, though. With 108 being the main thing that we were working on, it was really easy to just kind of have our whole project, company, whatever, something like that.
Let's just say that Universe 108 never really had
we never had. Yeah, it's exactly. It was just instead of having a set group name, there you go, a group name.
The closest we've had is our Instagram page, which is Universe 108 official,
which is an art page.
Yes.
Look that shit up. Like our shit, please.
34 followers, everyone.
Like it. We need 108. Once we have that, we'll be fine. Anyways, so since 108 was our main focus for the longest time, we never really had or really needed a group name. However, since since I am the one who's consistently saying other projects, the whole thing is that 108 isn't going to be the main focus of our stuff anymore. So, as I told Lawrence, on March 19th, a couple days ago, I decided, hey, how about this? How about instead of just going about calling everything that we do on this one channel that you have, even though it isn't even Universe 108 on your channel, it's literally just your name. Instead of having it just be under your name or just have it be a Universe 108 thing, why don't we come up with a group name and a brand?
Yeah.
So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome you guys to Monzretta Pictures, which is the name of the group that we have that is now going to be taking its home in this channel. As awkward as this fucking introduction is, I thought you were going to do a confetti thing or whatever.
No, I don't.
We weren't prepared for this. But anyway, so Monzretta Pictures is going to be home right here on this YouTube channel. What it is going to entail is this is going to be the home for all of the movies that we have up to date. So from A Letter to a Friend up until For the Both of You are the movies that we have right now. We'll have those here, some of the trailers, like the Rejects trailer and the Crazy Rich Onions trailer that I keep forgetting about, as well as some other projects here and there. All of those are going to be transferred over to this channel. You'll be able to find everything and anything 108 and other project related once that's revealed here.
Yes.
but also, as we were saying way back in the video, there are some videos from the other channel that aren't going to be able to process over the Lawrence Monzon channel. So why don't you tell this part? I'm talking too much.
So the following videos that won't be... Wow, I'm going to go down like a list and stuff. This is very automated.
Well, you don't have to go down the list, but it's just like you guys will know what videos aren't going to be there.
I'll give a like general like consensus. So you won't see any of my vlogs that I made in the past on there. That includes Drawing 108. Unfortunately, I love that series. Well, we're gonna start it anew probably.
Yeah.
But that
Let's
includes
run a drawing.
It
Yes.
also includes all of my speed art videos that I made in the past, but those are obviously outdated and stuff. So
Just watch Star Culture.
Yeah.
It's better. It's not colored, but it's better.
Basically, everything that's titled Universe 108 will most likely be uploaded back to, what was it? Once Reddit Pictures.
And then, it's primarily going to be 108 stuff until we actually unveil any and all of the projects that we have coming. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, honestly.
Do we need to give them a hint? Do anything or no?
It's a really long awkward silence. I don't know, actually.
Okay.
If you want to. Well, if we did have I don't have a good hint, actually.
Okay.
This video is long enough as is. You know what? We're going to leave you without a hint for right now. So, if anything, thank you guys for watching. Expect a lot more. And, if any of the guys who actually voice act for us or do any of this stuff are actually watching this, fuck you guys.
But...
Ow! Alright, so with that all being said, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully we'll have some more content out for you guys soon. And, welcome to Monzaretta Pictures. Hope you guys enjoy.